Good morning. Welcome to 2026. Um, I hope I hope you're ready for the year. I've got some less video today. Usually we have a little video going, and I've got more me talk at you, which might make this a little shorter than usual, which is okay, I think, for most of you. So I will say, as many of you know, we started last year talking about New Year's resolutions. It's Most New Year's resolutions, 9 out of 10 of them never get followed through on. In fact, just over half of them are are dropped, I guess, by the end of January. In fact, there's a quitter's day. I think it's January 19th or something. So I hope that's not us. I think we're a little different breed being salespeople. I think we're a different breed having to kind of get up every day and drive ourselves into finding some lead opportunities and service people. So I think we have a better chance of holding our resolutions if you have them. I know many of you have your business plans up and running, and you have for weeks now, and you're just kind of pumping along, trying to stay active and excited about your plans. But I want to share with you some things that I was reading over, I'll call it the break, even though most of us didn't really get a break. And some things, I don't know if this happens to you, but in my role in the last decade, I sometimes I lay there at night and I think, why am I thinking about work? And then as I'm thinking about work, I think about things like over break, I was thinking, why is it that some people are just struggling to survive in this business, and then others seem to thrive? And it's like watching, as the Olympics come on, it's like watching an Olympic athlete do something and then take a normal person and put them next to them. Like they look like baby giraffes trying to perform, and you just can't do it. And I don't think the difference is talent, like it would be maybe for an Olympic athlete, or luck, or even opportunity. I think it comes down to, as I've read through some of John Maxwell's stuff, if you know him, John Gordon, that's stuff I'm going to share today. It comes down to three things that people need in their life, and you are leaders. You're leaders in your own business, and without them, I think you end up with burnout and discouragement, and then the real problem with real estate sales is mediocrity creeps in, and then standards start to dwindle a little bit. And you'll see it if you source your business and if you really track the parts of your business that pay you. And one of those things is, what is your average commission percentage? You'll see mediocrity creep in, right? And so recently, I listened to this podcast between it's John Maxwell, the Maxwell Leadership podcast, and John Gordon, who wrote the books like The Energy Bus. I don't know if you've have read the Energy Bus, but what came of it is three things. The three things that help people actually survive versus um, uh, actually thrive versus survive. So the first one is having a mission, and people don't get burned out because of what they do. Realtors don't get burned out because of what we're doing. We get burned out because we forget why we're doing it. And your mission is kind of your why. And it should wake you up in the morning. It kind of keeps you going when obstacles are in the way, whether it's your attitude, whether it's a hard client, it's an inspection response, it's an appraiser, it's a roofer, whatever the obstacles are, those your mission, your why, those obstacles should not get in the way of that. And if you don't have clarity on your mission yet, you don't have to kind of panic. You don't have to sit down and spend hours and hours and hours on this is my why. Um, but it is good to review it when you have it set. But you just have to ask yourself three things. How do I add value today? Who can I serve today? And then the other one that's a little deep, it's whose dream can I support until I find my own? That works really well as a real estate agent or a mortgage lender, or even a home inspector or whatever. When you live on purpose, the purpose often kind of finds you, right? It approaches you. It comes out of the woodwork. And so I'm gonna send a follow-up email with this, and I'm gonna give you three action things that maybe you'll do. But the first one is I'd ask everyone to write down one sentence that describes your mission right now. And it could be very simple. I just want to help my families, my all my friends and family um, succeed in their real estate endeavors. Could be easy, right? I want to provide the best service in the real estate industry. I I want to sell 30 homes this year. I don't know what your mission is, right? But as you start thinking about it, and you put that into play, you won't experience burnout like most do because you'll have your why there kind of working you through the obstacles. The second thing that comes up that helps people, I think, thrive versus just survive is they have a team. And and I don't think anyone creates success alone. And I've been around a lot of successful people. I've been fortunate. I grew up in my family. We have an Olympian. Actually, we have a pole vaulting silver medal Olympic is one of my cousins. They have his cousins, Nora Jones. We have all these great people they got all the genes. I have nothing, right? They got all the good genes. I have nothing. That's my victim. But in IndyCar racing that I grew up around, I saw a lot of successful people, not just race car drivers, but people that were around the race teams. And what I noticed, and even in real estate, like I've been around Jamie Hall for 25 years. Jamie's been the number one solo agent in the city for over a decade and working hand in hand with us in the Brownsburg office. But no one creates success alone. And I've watched it with all these people, leaders of their business, you, or realtors of teams, or just for a solo agent. You have difference makers or those entrepreneurs. Everyone needs a team, right? And what I realized even more than ever is during COVID, without connection, we seem to grow really weak and we get discouraged. And with a team, it seems like we grow stronger and you feel that energy around it. And so your team could be obviously could be your coworkers, could be your admin, could be your manager, it could be your family. It could be the community that you're in, could be your church, could be a group you're in, or just close friends. They should be challenging you and encouraging you and making you better, right? And so if you have a mission and you have a team, you got two of the three things that I seems to help people thrive versus just survive. And so an action item under team would be who are three people, just to write down, who are three people that make you better? And then you take it the step further because this is where you get real good, is you reach out to them today and you thank them. So if I was to do that right now, I would think, and I don't know, I need to look here. I would probably reach out to Gina Cole. Right now, she's driving on the way because there's nobody that challenges me more. I call it bullying. There's nobody that challenges me more than Gina Cole. So I would say thank you. Has she's actually driving and running over mailboxes and old ladies just trying to get to their coffee. Look at her. She's and she drives around with this Saint Mary of Peace type sticker like it's okay to just run people over and bully them on 465. All right, that's two things. You have a mission, you have a team. The third thing is you got to have some kind of scoreboard. This is what I believe. And maybe it's because I'm a competitive person, but I think humans are wired to keep score. It's who we are, it's what we do. And it's why every game I think has a scoreboard, and so does life. Now, real estate is a little different because it's a never-ending game. There's not nine innings, there's not four quarters, right? But we do need to measure progress as we go, but we need to measure the right things. And there are two things in a scoreboard when you're going to be successful that matter. And the first thing is obviously your success. How are you keeping score on your goals, on your wins, on your achievements? That's great. We're going to do that on the 28th. And a couple weeks we'll be at our sales rally celebrating all of our goals achieved, all of our wins, all of our achievements as a group individually and as a group in one room. And that's a great day. I just love the way it feels. The second thing on having a scoreboard is your significance. How many lives are you impacting? Are you making a difference? Are you leaving a legacy? And see, success is temporary, Significance tends to last forever. And why this means so much in this day today to me is we are just a few weeks, um, yeah, we're 2 weeks off of Tom Prall's funeral and his servicing and honoring of his life. And Tom took this little small brokerage and grew it into 33 locations and on its way to 50, right? And his significance completely outweighs his successes. He impacted tens, I would say hundreds of thousands of people because of his standards and his ability to stay on his mission, right? And how did he do that? It took a team. And so those three things, the action on a scoreboard to me is if you were to take an action step, it would be what are you measuring right now? Is it only success or does it also include some significance? And if you wrote down one way you could track the impact you're making on people, not just the result you're achieving, I think it would help feed back into maybe what your mission is. And there's easy ways to do this, and it makes sounds complicated and deep the way I'm talking about it, maybe, but it's really just three things: come up with a mission, build a team around you, or use the current team that's around you, and find a way to keep score of your successes and then obviously, of course, your significance. And if you want to get started on that, I think that's a really great way to kind of work through your mindset of how do I stay on my New Year's resolutions, or how do I stay on track to thrive in this year that where the market's going to kind of be a little friendly, more friendly to us than it was last year. But how do I thrive and stay on pace for whatever my goals are in my real estate sales? And then can you layer those things to have some significance in life? I got to witness some great things over break. One of them was the Hamels have this uh, holiday party. I probably talked about it in December. They had like 80, 90 people in their house, and they're feeding them and they're taking pies home. These people are driving from everywhere. That's pretty good significance. You've obviously made an impact on them for them to take time out of a rainy, cold Tuesday before Thanksgiving for them to come. They didn't come for the food, although Doug's a decent cook. I wouldn't call him a good cook. But at the risk of getting salmonella, they drove through the rain, right? Because of the significance and impact. How can you do that for your business now, today? Build on it today. So I'm going to share just about 6 minutes of a podcast, and it's not as fun to share a podcast because it's uh, it's a podcast. There's no video. There's nobody to watch. But um, let me hit my share screen here, and I hope it works. My internet is better in Brownsburg thanks to George. He's got on it. And so let me make sure my thing is good. Okay. All right, here we go. So I think I got it. We're going to jump in at the beginning of this podcast. Let me set this up for you. This is John Gordon. You can see him on my screen right now. John Gordon podcast. John's the one who wrote One Word That Will Change Your Life, The Energy Bus, yada yada. But it's him and John Maxwell. If you don't know who John Maxwell is, I got a couple of his books behind me. I mean, he's written over 100 books, so he's got all kinds of knowledge, but lifelong learner. So let's listen to. Let me turn this up. Let's listen to about 6 minutes of this. See if you can get something out of this. Here we go.
John and John, it's interesting because you guys were talking about the three things every leader needs to thrive. The three things. And again, I've read both of you. I follow both of you. And I think you've lived a life of helping people with these three things. And the first thing that you say that every leader needs to thrive, to succeed, to be successful is a mission. Is something that wakes them up in the morning, something that keeps them up at night. And John Maxwell, I'd love to go to you first and just go, why does every leader need a mission?
Because we were born to have a mission. I mean, we were born to do something that's beneficial on purpose. You know, go back to Stephen Covey's Habits book. You know, what's he say? Begin with the end in mind. When he says begin with the end in mind, what he's saying is have a mission. In other words, have something at the end that is so great that it causes you every day to begin that journey to continue getting toward that mission. You know, you don't begin if you're not sure you have a good end. And so many people, and so the end is the mission. The end is the big picture. The end is what you're probably called for. That's just huge. So you have to be. When I think of mission, I think of intentional living. I think of being intentional. No one ever got a mission or stayed on the course unintentionally. And intentional living, intentional thinking, intentional actions. It's so essential because as I teach, everything worthwhile, it's uphill. It's all uphill. So if it's all uphill, you have to be intentional to get there. And if you have a dream, if you have a mission, it's something worthwhile. And something worthwhile takes a long time, and you have to climb. No one ever drifted to success. And, in fact, if you drift, you always get to some undesired location, to be honest with you. So mission is so important because it keeps us focused. Because, one of the questions, Mark, you're with me a lot, we're getting, and when I speak a lot, one of the questions I'm getting a lot recently in the last year are people that are asking me all the time about distractions. How do you keep from being distracted? And we live in such a fast social kind of culture, where you're just kind of going for quick hits and quick thumbs ups and everything else. That all of a sudden I realized people are really getting distracted a lot. And the reason I bring that up is because we're on mission. Mission causes you to focus. And what happens is when you focus on something, it expands. When you focus on something, it gets bigger and more clear. In fact, my father, when we were younger, that was one of his favorite words, focus. And when he wanted us to really concentrate and focus on something, he had a phrase. He'd say, "Put this before you." He said, "Put this before you." Because he knew if we would put it before us, it would be clear and it would expand. It would get bigger. He also had another expression for distractions. There was something that wasn't important. He said, "Put that behind you. Put that behind you." Because, the moment I put something behind me, everything gets smaller. When you don't see it, it just really kind of fades away after a while. And so when we think of mission, we have to be intentional. We have to begin with the end in mind. And I think the asset of mission is it causes us to focus, which allows us now not to be distracted with distractions because we're living a bigger life than what those distractions are. And it begins to expand. It begins to become clear. Let's put it this way. I've never known a successful person at the end of their life said, "I just don't know what I lived my life for." Every person that wraps it up well started it well because they had something to focus on called mission that kept them on the right track.
For 25 years, John, you've lived on mission. You've known your mission. You've lived on mission, and you've inspired with your mission. But John Gordon, let me ask you, what do you do if you don't have a mission? How do you find a mission?
That's a great question, because we talk about the importance of a mission. We don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it. And as John said, when you know your why, you'll know the way. You're not going to let obstacles get in the way. And the best thing a leader can provide is clarity. And when you have clarity, as John was alluding to, you get focused action and purpose. The mission gives you that focused action. So we know we're better when we're living on mission, when we have a mission. But what happens when you don't have one? And that's a big challenge because, think about the guy who retires and he had a mission every day at his company. He had a mission every day at his nonprofit or his church. He knew what he was waking up for every day. And then you retire, you no longer have that mission. That person needs to find a new mission. Or the kid who's in high school and the goal was to get into college. The mission was to get into a great college. We've all been there with our kids. Well, many of us have. I know you have, Mark, me, myself as well. And then now you're in college, the mission's done. You have to create a new mission. And so every day, if you don't have one, the goal in life is to find that why, find that mission. And if you don't have one, I really believe you have to start asking. And
all right, I'm going to stop there because I don't want to. I'm going to be purposeful. That's my goal this year, and I don't want to run over on 8:30 every week this year. If we can keep ourselves being done by 8:30 or before, I think will be a little better. But let me share with you a few things that I hear when I hear that and I relate it to real estate. If you keep the end in mind, it will make it easier. So here's two questions that came up when I was listening to this the first time, and they just came back up in my brain. If you if you don't think you can sell a listing, how many hours a week are you going to spend prospecting for a listing? If you don't have the end in mind, that's a positive outcome. If you will you prospect if you don't think your buyer is going to get the best interest rate? Will you prospect if you don't think your buyer is going to be able to find the home they want? And that's your subconscious working against you. And the idea of distractions, I love that part of what he's so relevant today with all these distractions. Finding clarity is the key. And so I think there's one way to find clarity, and it's done with one word. And this might, at the risk of coming across cheesy, I'm going to challenge everyone a couple of things right now. One is, I think you got to spend a little bit of time finding your mission, uh, reflecting on who's on your team to help you build your success and start leveraging those people more and giving back to those people more. And then I think everything will come together because the scoreboard will be of significance more than the success. But in order to keep you on pace with your goals you already have in mind, and maybe even your New Year's resolution, I think it would be much simpler in the real estate world to for clarity reasons and no distractions, is to pick one word because one word will stick and have a word for the year. Many of you have done this. Um, and as I read one of the blogs that John Gordon, this guy that was just talking, talks about, uh, they talk about 50% of resolution makers fail by the end of January, but the one word seems to stick. And so as he talks about, he's been doing this for 20 years, apparently, or follow people that have been doing it for 20 years. And the words like surrender and serve and forgive and connected and expand and all that stuff. What you're doing is you're taking into yourself a sales technique for positivity, and you're actually getting your own reticular activating system. Your reticular activating system is something that just keeps that top of mind. For instance, if you were using Carpenter Connect and doing market reports every month and then sending them quarterly neighborhood trend reports, a quarterly phone call, and inviting them to an event twice a year, you're putting yourself into your client's reticular activating system, as in, I am the market expert. Well, the one word for the year that will help your business, maybe your life, provide some clarity for you and keep you from being distracted. The one word should keep your own reticular activating system for yourself on pace to keep a better score. And I think each word will mold and shape you into becoming a better person if that's what it is. I want to be a better father, a better husband. I want to be a better communicator, a better real estate agent, a better helper in the office, a better leader. Whatever it is, you're a leader of your own business, and how do you get better? And so this is a great exercise to do even with if you have kids, even if they're grown kids, um, even if they won't do it with you, them seeing you do it is pretty powerful. But there's a book out there, and I'll share it, and it's called One Word That Will Change Your Life. And it's by this John Gordon and these two other people. One word that will change your life. Maybe I'll put it in this email I'm going to send. And so I think if you could find what that means for you and let it have purpose to ride through your goals and help your guide your year through all these obstacles and keep your reticular activating system going in the positive way of which you want it to go, I think this one word is the answer. I think it could trump all New Year's resolutions. And you may not have any idea what your word is yet, and that's okay. I mean, you got time to figure it out. There's no race. I don't think anyone here is on their deathbed. But as part of the process, I would invite you to take some time to work on your business this week and think, where do I want my business to go this year? What do I want that word? How do I want that word to help me do that? We all know that we have all these tools at our disposal. We have to put these tools to work for us. How does this one word help us stay focused on that? Right? Maybe the word's focus. I don't know. But I'm going to I'm going to share with you what my word is. My word is purposeful. Purposeful means being productive without just being busy. That's what it means to me. Everything I do can have purpose. right? I kind of live that way. I'm kind of cheating because I live that way anyway. But it will help me when I sit down. Is this a purposeful? Am I being purposeful in my time right now? Right? That word can fly. And then it was funny the other day. Jeanette stopped me. It's kind of weird how our brains work. But Jeanette stopped me and she said, "My word of the year is." Jeanette, share with us what your word of the year is.
Intentional.
And then why did you pick intentional?
Because every day, well, a couple things, but every day it's my intent to find the joy in the day because as part of scripture, I'm a faith person. Um, too often we look ahead and we think what could go wrong and this and that. Anyway, um, but just being intentional in the moment and in the day and being joyful about that and intentional about hitting my goals and making my calls and doing that sort of thing. So that's why intentional's my word or in
I love
being
the
in.
word. I love it. I think it rides perfectly into, we don't have normal lives in this business. You're all a little weird. I don't know if you know that or not. You're all just a little bit weird. And imagine yourself today and real estate's over. You can't do real estate, you can't do mortgage, you can't do whatever. You have to go to work for somebody and there's a cubicle waiting for you. You would probably rather die than have to be suffer through someone telling you what to do all day. And I think you have to be your own boss to tell yourself what to do. I think picking a word for the year, maybe it's for the quarter, picking a word and living by it, like Jeanette's intentional word, will help her stay focused. And so I'd like to pick on a few more people. Jason, have you ever done this in all your years of being a
Oh yeah,
teacher? So
I
do
got a
you,
word.
yeah, what is it?
Enrich
Okay, so what does that mean to you?
means that I have an opportunity every day to help enrich the lives around me.
Yeah.
Each
And that
person I get an opportunity to be better and to leave somebody else better along the way.
and I think the one word leads into those three things that help people survive, right? Mission, uh, building a team around you to help that word live every day with you, and keeping score, meaning not just your success, but your significance. Do you feel like that all ties together?
I do. So I met somebody, had a friend many years ago. We went hiking, and she picked up trash the whole trail,
Oh my
and
God.
I kept asking, "Why are you picking up trash?" And she said, "Every time I go someplace, I try and leave it better than when I got there," and that stuck with me every day. And I think what the word enrich means is that when you try and pick up the trash in other people's lives,
Well,
you try to clean it up a little bit each day.
or pick a better hiking partner who doesn't litter in front of them the whole time. That might be a better choice. This guy's eating candy bars, like just throwing wrappers everywhere. Shane, what's this guy doing? Yeah, my one of my brothers says, "Leave it better than you found it. Leave it better than you found it." And that's kind of that. So, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I do want to just real quick on your screen, you see a guy named Derek Ringer. Derek is a commitment mortgage lender, and he's new to the team this week. Very experienced, very good. Derek, you want to share? You want a 10, 15-second commercial? I put you on the
Uh,
spot.
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
10, 15 seconds. That'll be a little short, but I'll make it brief. I had a lot of time in the industry, about 25 years. Moved down here, Central Indiana in 2014, and actually got a role with Tucker Mortgage, back at that time. So I'm familiar with the role,
Mhm.
and what it entails. I would say my word for the year is something like prevail.
Wow,
So
that's a
that
good
would
one.
be if I had to put it in one.
Yeah.
But looking forward to meeting everybody, and I think this year is going to be great. I've been saying
Yeah.
that for the last 3 years. So
Well, me
third time's
too.
a charm. It's going to hit one day.
It is what you make of it. We have a good opportunity this year as rates drop to do some call sessions with our database and offer refis. It's going to happen this year. So it's going to be good. All right. Thanks. I saw you on here. I appreciate you jumping on. Okay. That's our
Yeah,
first
thank you.
mastermind this year. Next week, I'll do it from California because I'm going to the Mike Ferry retreat. and hopefully I'll have a little sunburn. I don't think I'll be outside enough to get a sunburn, but I'll be out there. So if you're going, reach out to me because I may not have you on our list, and we'll have a Carpenter Realtors dinner. All right. Thanks for being here. Happy 2026. Pick your word and let me know. Pick your word and let me know. Bye.